So, hey guys, today I'm going to ask myself the simple question, and maybe you guys can answer along to this. Why would you play Yu-Gi-Oh as a new player? So, let's say you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh at all, right? What reason do you have to get into playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Hmm. Okay, just think on that one for a while. Why would you play Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, I think the big one, I guess, is nostalgia. Plus, maybe I like the anime. So I don't think we can go with like a rational route because if you're a rational human being, um, I'd feel like you'd lean towards no. So let's go with a basic deck. Okay, so actually, Blue Eyes is like a little too basic. I guess we'll go with Altergeist for today. Let's check. Just multi-faker effect. Yep, that's a lot of text. And well, we'll just generate a quick Altergeist deck list, I guess. Doesn't really matter how efficient it is, does it? Did generate like an actual okay-ish list, I guess. At least it's like fine. Yeah, I don't really like this list. It's kind of trash, it feels like. A little bit. Wait, now that I think about it, how's this card work again? Just real quick. Da, da, da. You cannot activate the effects of light or dark monsters for the rest of this duel. If you have no traps in your graveyard, your opponent can special summon one. Wow, this card's so terrible. You can't even play this in Altergeist like at all. Well, I mean, yeah, not really playable, huh? But okay, focusing back up here. All of these cards, they have like an insane amount of card text, and then like problem-solving card text, and like just you can't even read these cards like straight up. If you read these cards, you read the text out loud. Every single one of these words, like none of these have a meaning to you. Like shuffle, you don't understand shuffle, I guess. And maybe you don't understand. Face up from your field. The hell's a field? What's the difference from face up or face down? Altergeist. Cards that say Altergeist in their name, I suppose. That'd be Altergeist. And what is this colon? What is this semicolon? Why is this in brackets? No understanding of anything here at all, right? You have to learn how to read the cards. Then you need to learn about triggers, timing, also technically priority, because there is like somewhat card priority with like triggers and stuff and quick effects. Like with quick effects, I guess this wouldn't really matter too much, but let's say you have a Vanquish Soul monster and I have some sort of non-targeting removal. So the order, well, that this doesn't really matter too much, but in this case, if you want to activate your card versus if I want to activate mine, I guess this would come up the most if we were dealing with like a Layer of Darkness and those cards. So I contribute technically one of my opponent's monsters, right? As kind of a quick effect with Layer of Darkness. So let's say they also have a card where they contribute their monster. They normal summon some guy, doesn't really matter, the guy in question. It doesn't trigger, okay? So we just normal summon that guy. It can be tributed with effective Layer of Darkness. So there's actually going to be a priority. So the turn player gets priority, so they can activate their like quick play spell to tribute first or whatever. Or if that monster itself has a quick effect, you normal summon it and then do the quick effect to tribute itself to do whatever. And I guess that the card that would do that would be like the Sword Soul Ecclesia card or whatever that card was called. I genuinely don't remember the name of that card at the moment, but yeah, that would work, I suppose, and kind of dodge Layer because you're priority, but at the same time, like if you were trying to, well, if you wanted to resolve Ecclesia on your opponent's turn in the same kind of way, your opponent has priority, so they contribute your Ecclesia before you contribute it. So yeah, quick effect priority. That's like a pretty extreme example there. Should have went with triggers, but like I guess Malulu versus like whatever trigger you have. Like probably activate a fusion spell or the effect is special summon something. You would probably do something to trigger Malulu in the same chain, and then try to negate the on summon effect the next chain. But that only works on your opponent's turn, not your own turn. Because why would it? Okay, so going back to the main topic, why would you play Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, still thinking on this. There's the fact that the game is very difficult, and what does mastering the game give you? Like genuinely, even if you were the best player in the world, like if you go second, you're just in a lot of cases you're just guaranteed to lose without being able to do a single thing. Like you can think, okay, well, where do I imperm here? And the correct answer is there's not a single correct time or place to imperm. The correct answer for imperm could be literally you hold this as discard fodder, because on the following turn, for whatever reason, the imperm will not do anything. And then on the first turn, your opponent has maybe a way to dodge imperm, or even worse, it's just cross out. So no matter when you activate imperm, be it this turn or the next turn, it'll just get negated by cross out regardless, and have absolutely zero impact. So yeah, that was very skilled, I guess. And that doesn't even consider ideas of like, okay, but infinite impermanence is just literally useless against your opponent's deck. Like, for example, Mitsurugi. Where in the world am I supposed to imperm? Even if I save my imperm for next turn, like, this guy just gets reborn. You can just reborn this guy. And then you can think about but what about the discard Omni effect? You had to, like, lose this card out of your hand to negate that effect, right? And then, like, if you had this in your hand, you could just discarded this to deal with this card, right? Yeah. Literally a do-nothing card against, like, Mitsu, right? So, yeah. What's the reward for mastery of this game? You can play at a moderately okay level and maybe squeeze out some extra wins in some games that some other people might not have been able to. Great. Anything else? Reward for mastering the game. Let's see. If you look up like anyone talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, like I feel like 99% of the time you'll just find someone that's just going like, "Man, I hate Yu-Gi-Oh." Because apparently nobody hates Yu-Gi-Oh more than a Yu-Gi-Oh player, right? And yeah, I mean, let's see. Positive reinforcement, not check. You look at gameplay, you won't be able to understand any of it. You'll just be seeing things going on and off board. And even in some cases where like a board is wiped, the entire board might just come back, or it doesn't come back. Why does it come back? Why doesn't it come back? Well, situational, I guess. And then sometimes a guy will just pass and do absolutely nothing. Like there's a lot of situations in Yu-Gi-Oh. And from a new player perspective, they're all completely unintelligible, completely not understandable. Like for example, you might think, oh, they just normal summon one guy and then they passed, right? That end board clearly not good, right? Well, let's give an example of a decent end board where you normal summon one guy and pass. Normal summon Fossil Dino, set Mirror Force, pass. That could be considered a good board, honestly. Or maybe you just activate Moon Mirror Shield on Fossil Dino, or maybe we activate like what's the name of that card again? Clockwork Knight. Sure. And then the other guy just can't do anything at all. It says you can't special summon monsters. What does that do? Does that matter? No, not really clear, is it? Why don't they just normal summon a guy that's bigger than Fossil Dyna? They have like maybe you see a like Magnuma in their hand or Lubellion. Why don't they just normal summon Lubellion and beat over the Fossil Dyna? Am I right? Yeah. Yep. That's definitely a thing. So, what do we have going on here? Have I even like through all of this rambling? Have I thought of a reason to want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, maybe we can think of like, oh, the art, like the art. Um, anything else? Maybe a deck looks cool. That's kind of still kind of like art as well. Trying for the sake of trying. Just cause nostalgia, anime, art for literally no reason. I feel like if anyone were looking for a reason, I just don't feel like you could really find one. Okay, how about your friend plays Yu-Gi-Oh, and then your friend like tries to teach you and explain Yu-Gi-Oh to you, and then you just don't want to play because Yu-Gi-Oh kind of has that effect. We can start with the reading, where you have to read all this card text. Just to quickly sum out how much card text there is in the entirety of just this deck alone, and then you have to account for your opponent's deck. There's probably like 3,000 plus words that you have to read to play like a single duel in Modern. Assuming like you just don't know any of the cards in it. Like even if you did know the staples like Imperm and Ash Blossom, so this isn't even as a new player anymore, you would still have to read quite a few cards, right? So maybe you've never seen Celine in your life. For example, Celine's not that commonly played. Access code, honestly, you might have to read because just if you don't know access code, because it just hasn't been played in like over a year. I feel like the only deck that summoned access code, like there's two. It's like Mathmech, and then exactly Malice. Yeah. Remember when every single deck just randomly summoned access code Tucker? Well, no more of that. That's just not happening anymore. So yeah, it, it's just like, why play the game? You're just reading a bunch of cards, and then you're still probably going to lose because the other guy actually still knows how to play better. And worth mentioning a little bit here is because there's just such an insane lack of newer players. Like I expect anyone that tries to pick up this game, they're just going to get completely obliterated by any person they play against because everyone should just be a veteran and know relatively how to play the game. And that's already better than what you can manage, which is you don't know how to play the game at all. So that's great. So anywhere from rookie to like master or rookie to gold, like even from that point, I expect like every single player there to, for the most part, know somewhat what they're doing. There might be like a few exceptions to this here and there, like happens, I guess. Maybe there are genuinely some really bad players out there or something. Who knows? But regardless, like the primary players you should be playing against are people that have played for just a relatively long amount of time or a good amount of time. Like probably a year or so. I doubt you will find anyone that's played Yu-Gi-Oh for like around less than a year or less. Yeah, that's played less than a year of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And if you do, there's also still a lot of issues if you do decide to play Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Let's go through some things that are problematic because I just can't find any justification to play this game at the moment. Like, I mean, if you guys can find some for me, much appreciated. But to just get through some of the starting hoops, all right. What deck do I play? What deck is good? It's not even clear. So, for example, if we just decide, oh, I'll just pull from the selection pack because you pull only cards from the selection pack, and these are like the newest cards, right? So surely these are good. Let's say, oh, I want to play Doom. I want to play maybe Assault Mode. Maybe I could play Goki. I'm pretty sure all of those decks are ass. That's all I'm saying. Probably. I'm not actually sure about Goki, but I've never seen any of these cards getting played, like, at all. This new stuff, the Nightwing Cleric and stuff, this might be at least playable. Not really sure if it's any good. I think the best thing here is just Radiant Typhon. If you choose to play, like, Dooms or something, like, this is still, like, a better option. One of the better options that you could possibly have chosen as a new player. Just playing Dooms, honestly, not the worst thing you could have done. You could have chosen to play, like, Charmers or an old archetype you like, but they haven't gotten support in, like, 9 more billion years. Like, imagine building a full volcanic deck, but, like, maybe before the support, I guess. So volcanic's not really a good support or good example. So let's say you build a full Lavavel deck or a Laval deck. Well, what's that going to do? Absolutely nothing, right? So yeah, you just get absolutely cooked. That's the only option I see. Maybe you like Charmers, or maybe you pulled some random cards. Like, you unlock some secret packs, you like the arts on certain cards, you pull them. Turns out they're completely unplayable garbage because a lot of decks are just kind of like that. Like, for example, I think Despot is kind of like iffy right now. I don't know like what Despot players do at the moment. Maybe they just make a Rorodon and then do an Aurorodon combo. That's like my expectation, at least. If you actually genuinely want to play like actual Despot instead of going like Despots into Aurorodon, which that's my expectation, at least. Yeah, it's just not going to be a good time at all, and your deck's probably just going to be ass in comparison to like what might be considered a kind of meta or competitively-ish, viable-ish kind of deck. So, justification and reasons to keep playing. Really struggling on this one. So even assuming you did start playing, why would you keep playing? So I guess it kind of varies depending on like what type of player you are, what kind of gameplay you enjoy. That might affect things a little bit. Why am I still playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Gotta ask myself that question a little bit. And I think, oh right, sunk cost fallacy. Yeah, that's my reason, probably. What's your guys' reason? I don't know anymore. I feel like actually now that I think about it, like a good amount of you guys like might have just quit straight up, and you just watch people play Yu-Gi-Oh now. Yeah. And then eventually you'll probably stop doing that and have absolutely nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh at some point. But yeah, all right. As a new player though, what incentive do you have to keep playing? Like, when newer players just completely destroy you with their deck, I guess maybe you want to improve. I guess, but why? Why bother improving? What's the point? Because even if you improve, there's just so much like kind of RNG aspect. Like, okay, what am I going to improve? Like, for me personally, I think my like just skill in the general card game is pretty damn good now, right? I think the only thing left to me, or left for me to really improve on, is winning the coin flip or opening better hands. The joy. What is there here? When it comes to like deck building as well, actually, didn't even get to that. Like, you chose the archetype. Did you even build the deck right? Did you build the archetype right? Are you playing cards that you absolutely should not be playing because they're completely terrible for like the archetype, I guess? So let's say we have Flame. Don't even remember the name of this card at this point. What was it, like Flame Warrior or something? I'll figure it out. Flame Swordsman. Flame Sword, I guess, is probably good enough. let's say you want to play this archetype, and then you end up playing like Blue Flame Swordsman and Mirage Swordsman in your deck for whatever reason. Because they're mentioned in the deck, but then the main combo is like, I will normal summon Fighting Flame Swordsman, and I will add like the Book of Moon card, and I will pass turn. And that is my quote unquote combo. Yup. Book of Moon, pass Rooney. And then you also have like some random like kind of back row, like maybe IDP, Solemn Judgment, whatever, as part of your back row. And that's kind of just going to be your deck. Yeah. This isn't the trap either though, right? Where's the trap? Can you actually not search it with us? Does that have to be searched with us? Oh. Salamander with chain. Yup. How do you even search this again? Add one spell trap that mentions Flame Swordsman from your deck to your hand. Flame Swords Realm, Salamander Fusion. Flame Swords Realm. Grab this. Send. That doesn't do it, I think. Yeah, I don't even want to bother thinking about this anymore. So, deck building. Picking a deck, and then figuring out the most efficient way to build that deck, and then what? Continue building decks for like what reason? For fun? To play the game? I mean, in some cases, I guess the game could be fun, but like, is the fun worth the insane investment in time to like learn how to play the card game? Because I didn't even mention that, because like being able to play the card game, you need to like brush up on problem solving card decks, priority triggers, like quick effect timings, how those work, right? That's like the starting line, pretty much. And like straight up, if you're in like a lot of different ranks, I don't even know when people would have started understanding like problem solving card decks and stuff. I remember that there was just someone, I don't remember who it was, but they sometimes occasionally uploaded Yu-Gi-Oh, but they just didn't understand problem solving card text, because they probably don't even know the concept of problem solving card text exactly, because it's never mentioned anywhere, so they never learned it. So they're really that player is really struggling with figuring out how chains will resolve, and like what effects their opponent can kind of activate. Like, absolute struggle for that person. And like, even if you do understand it, game can be confusing. If you're playing like a bunch of different games, like let's say like Legends of Runeterra, for example, so much easier to understand. Commitment, a lot less commitment to put in. Now that I think about it, Yu-Gi-Oh does require a lot of commitment, you know, just in general, like you have to commit to learning the cards, reading every single like relevant card or whatever, learning rulings and all that, because those matter. And they're not necessarily intuitive. So for example, like we'll go with the example real quick of Nibiru plus Token Collector, which gotta love this example, right? So technically, if you really think about it, Token Collector has the effect to make it so that tokens cannot be summoned, right? Nibiru summons a token. So the thing about this interaction is that Nibiru has to summon a token because it's mandatory, and the action cannot be done because of Token Collector. You just cannot activate Nibiru. But if you actually were able to resolve Nibiru, just think about this for a second, you tribute every single monster off the field. So that includes Token Collector, which means it's no longer on the field, which would allow you to special summon a token. So yeah, just sitting on that and thinking for that, or thinking about that for a second. Wow. That's a fun ruling right there, and not dumb at all. And it doesn't require you to understand anything either, right? And also worth throwing out, I guess we'll throw out a fun one. Slifer. If I were to special summon Slifer and then Book of Moon this, and then this gets put face up during the next turn, this will still attempt to destroy itself during the end phase. the next end phase. Right here. Soft once per turn during the end phase. If this card was special zone, send it to the graveyard. And this is a little more clear to an extent because this card here says it's soft once per turn, so this checks every single turn. But there are cards where they would get sent to the graveyard after a certain period of time or whatever. And those cards, like, a little weird to think about, I guess. But there are cards that say something like, during the turn this card was like special zone, send it to the graveyard or something. Or if this card was special zone, send this card to the graveyard during the end phase or something. And then maybe it says destroy it or something. So if you protect that card, it'll still attempt to destroy itself every subsequent like end phase, even though it doesn't necessarily specify. Like the end phases that it'll try to attempt to destroy itself, like that's not very intuitive, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Also, like, not intuitive with like the flip rulings of like what a monster is considered as. Is this still considered a special summon card? Yeah. If we go with like I think this is a good example for this ruling, so we'll just go over this real quick. If we have Dancing Leaves and we flip Yugioh face down, there is an effect right here that says when this card leaves the field, send that monster to the graveyard. So Yugioh doesn't really ever stop being quote unquote like that monster. Or I guess we can also grab Ninjutsu Art of Duplication, where this says when this card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. If you flip a face-up monster and then it goes face down, it just has amnesia, and it's no longer destroyed by like duplication effect or sent by Dancing Leaves effect. Even though it's like very much the same monster, it, like, could not be any more of the same monster, right? In all those cases, it just, yeah, it's just a thing that you just have to know. It's not on the card text like anywhere. You just have to know this, right? So, for example, let's say you have maybe some form of removal, so like SP Lil Knight. So maybe you're thinking, oh, I can SP this, and then my opponent loses the Geo, right? And then I have SP for their normal summon, and then I can bash that, and then they have absolutely no play. But in reality, that's not the case at all, because it can actually flip over maybe their Geo and then beat over your SP, and you're actually the one with no play, because you didn't realize that. And the correct answer would actually be something dumb like you link off a guy, and then you banish their face down guy, ignore the Dancing Leaves, and then to deal with your face down guy, maybe you have like some form of removal to get rid of it, and maybe that's actually the line. Or like, ridiculously enough, maybe you even have to bash your own monster in some cases or something like that. Because it's a face down, you can't use it for link summoning, yada yada. It's just pain. So yeah, I mean, if you've already committed a decent amount, you might want to commit more. So it's just sunk cost, right? I haven't thought of like a reason like loving the game or the game mechanics, because the game mechanics, you can argue, are kind of trash in some regards or hard to understand. So as a new player, like, it'll just be frustrating, and maybe you'll want to quit. Or maybe you're the type of person that when you get frustrated, you just want to keep going at it. Is that maybe the play here? Just, yeah. I'm not really feeling super great about this. You know, honestly, I was trying to think of a reason to stay positive about wanting to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As a new player. Like, I wasn't intentionally trying to be negative here, like, honestly. I just could not and cannot, as of currently, think of like many reasons, or any good reasons, I guess, to just start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. Why play a card game? I wonder if anyone has a solid reason here. You could make the argument of maybe, let's say, but Yu-Gi-Oh's fun. Let's say you do enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe that person will enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Too, but, you know, they can also enjoy other things. I know what they won't enjoy, probably learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Did anyone enjoy learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Maybe, but I'd probably say the majority of people wouldn't enjoy it. So yeah, I think that the biggest issue right now to Yu-Gi-Oh, to an extent, is like, well, it was accessibility. Master Duel helps bridge accessibility problems a good amount for a lot of different reasons. Like maybe you don't have a locals near you, maybe the cards are too damn expensive or whatever. Yeah, all those reasons, solid reason to start playing at least Master Duel, not necessarily Yu-Gi-Oh, because these assumptions I think are for people that already play Yu-Gi-Oh to an extent. Hmm. Yeah, not looking great. At this reason, this is going to stop becoming like a video for why you should start playing Yu-Gi-Oh too. Why is it that I'm still playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Hmm. Yeah. We're kind of already there in this video though. So, hmm. Commitments, difficulty, learning how to play the game. The combos are they kind of, you know, if you think about it, you could say combos in Yu-Gi-Oh are crazy in comparison to maybe other card games or something. But at the same time, you know, if everything's crazy, nothing's crazy. It's just a regular combo. Hmm. Maybe a crazy combo could be a reason to play the game, you know. But you know that is kind of just a gimmick puppet. Hmm. Awesome. Yeah, not much to say here. It's just yeah. I'm actually genuinely kind of trying to mull over it and think of reasons to play the game or get into the game. And yeah, I mean, card art. I watched the anime. I used to watch the anime. I used to play the card game. Like you could say that quote unquote like we're getting new players in the sense that oh this old player started playing Yu-Gi-Oh again, but like is that really a new player? That's kind of an old player. If you have absolutely nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh, then you like the look of the art. Um, is that where I'm at for reasons? I'm really running dry on reasons here. So yeah, I think that this is dragged on enough painfully so because I genuinely can't think of anything, and it's been like probably just 5 minutes of just thinking like why play Yu-Gi-Oh? Cannot think of reason. So yeah, better off end it here. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.